Hi, I'm Jeff Ondash, and welcome to 66 Days to Success. This is the show that's all about helping you to make a change in your life or attempt to achieve a goal that you've been wanting to do for a while. Today we've got some really great guests for you. We've got Brad Price. He's going to be talking about how you can attempt your goal, stick with it, and hopefully see it to fruition, and how to handle some of the setbacks that you're going to have along the way. We're also going to have Master Sam Naples, who is a world-renowned karate expert. He's a black belt and is known all over the world for some of the things that he's accomplished. And he's right here in our area and can help you out too. That's a great interview, and you're not going to want to miss either one of these. But let's talk a little bit about what we learned last week, or last month I should say, on our show. We talked about when you're going to attempt a goal, that the first thing you want to do is to set that plan. Don't just all of a sudden arbitrarily say that, like on New Year's Day, I'm going to set out to lose 30 pounds. You're going to have to make sure that you plan beforehand, because there's an old saying, those who fail to plan to fail. And it's very, very true. If you don't have that plan set into action on January 1st, chances are you're not going to go out and you're not going to even attempt it. And if you do attempt it, you're not going to stick with it very long because you haven't thought about it enough. So that's what 66 Days to Success is really all about. It's to help you give yourself a grace period. So for some of the times when you have a little setback, or you fail maybe, or you go out and if you're going to try and lose that weight and you go out and you eat more than you should have, and then all of a sudden you're not back on your diet, you're not back at the gym. That's why you need the plan, the 66-day grace period, so that the change in your life could be a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it changes your lifestyle, and then you're able to go out and accomplish your goal or make the change that you would like in your life to happen, and then you'll be able to see it come to fruition. It's not very difficult. You know, if you really want to make a change, and we all do with some aspect of our life, or we want to accomplish a goal, no matter what it is, it's all up to you. And you really could do it if you really want to. It's not up to your family to help you lose weight, or to play the guitar, or the piano, or to write a book. It's not up to anybody else. It's you. They say that, you know, nobody can make you unhappy. And happiness is not anything more than a choice that you make every day. So it's the same thing with attempting a goal or making a change in your life. If you want to do it badly enough, and if you're ready to do it, then do it the right way. Create a plan. Sit down at the table. Have some quiet time to yourself. Think about what it is that you want to change, or what it is that you want to accomplish, and then set that plan up. Write it down, put it down in paper, a mission statement, if you will, on what you're going to do and how you're going to accomplish it. And set smaller intermediate goals along with your big goal, so that you could accomplish short-term little goals along the way to what you really want to accomplish. It's not very difficult. And when you decide that you want to do it, and you sit down and you make that plan, you've got it up here, you've got it in here, you've got it down on paper, nothing really could stop you except yourself. So today we're going to talk to Brian Price. He's a therapist, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how you can make sure that you won't stop yourself from attaining your goal. And then we're going to talk to Master Sam Naples. And Sam's a motivationalist, and he's going to get you up and running, and you're going to be wanting to go out and get ready and accomplish your goal. So that's enough from me. I'm just Jeff Ondash. I'm not a professional. These guys are, and we're going to talk to them, and maybe they're going to help you make the 66 days in your life to success come along a little bit quicker. So without further ado, let's go to Brad Price and our interview. We'll be right back. And welcome back to 66 Days to Success. I'm here with Brad Price. He's a therapist out of Akron, Ohio, and he does some work over in our area in Boardman, Canfield. Brad, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I want to set a goal.
All right.
And I want to, let's just say that, we're not even going to say what the goal is, but I'm going to set a goal that I want to attain within 6 months. Mm-hmm. So in order to eliminate some of the pitfalls and some of the mistakes I might make along the way, what should I really do? What's the first thing that I should do upon attaining this goal?
A first suggestion would be to break it down into some component parts. Frequently what happens, for example, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, it's big right now.
It's real big right now. People will make resolutions for an entire year, look at losing X amount of weight, going to the gym, so much in the course of a year, and it becomes overwhelming. It's not unusual for gyms to talk about many people coming in January with New Year's resolutions and dropping off in March and April because the goal they set seems unrealistic, difficult to achieve, becomes overwhelming. So breaking it down into a piece that they can accomplish in a shorter period of time, day by day, a week, a month, is the first place to begin, regardless of what it is. Authors who write books, for example, don't always look at writing the entire book. They look at the next scene, the next piece. Musicians will do the same thing in their creativity. So it's a matter of finding a comfortable, realistic goal for the foreseeable future and not get overwhelmed with a large project all at once.
Okay, so let's go with the weight loss theme and the working out, getting in better shape or losing weight.
Sure.
So it's January 1st. I'm going to make this conscious effort that on January 1, I'm hitting the gym. Shouldn't I do a little bit of maybe planning, like you're saying, breaking it down into smaller goals, but like planning, setting a plan before just all of a sudden on January 1 kind of jumping in with both feet and not having any direction outside of showing up at the gym?
Right. I think the first thing is sitting down with a calendar, a planner, whatever it is a person uses to, plan their days, weeks, and months, and looking at what are they going to do on January 1st. Then what are they going to do January 2nd? For example, if they have a gym membership or a schedule that allows them to go every other day, plot it on a calendar. Not look necessarily at a long period of time each occasion they go, but make sure that they attain the every other day schedule. That way, they'll maintain some momentum. They can go to bed at night feeling like they accomplished their goal. I was there for a half hour, and they feel good about that. And then over time, increase the amount of time they spend at the gym, perhaps increase the frequency they go. But start with something reasonable and realistic.
Right, and we call the show 66 Days to Success because we've read a lot about how that if you want to make a change in yourself, in your personal life, or you want to attain a goal, that the first 66 days are, you don't want to say they're the toughest or the hardest, but it's kind of like your trial period. Right. So instead of on January 1 going with that plan, you might have given yourself a little leeway because you're going to fail over the first 66 days. You're going to make some mess ups. You're going to eat when you're not supposed to. You're not going to show up to the gym.
Sure.
You're going to miss 3 or 4 days. But why is it so hard for people once they fall into that little trap of, let's say that they went to the gym very faithfully for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden something comes up in their life that makes it so they couldn't go there, and they don't go back? What is it that keeps them, that impetus to get them back there again? What do they need?
Well, I think the first thing that they need is just permission to miss now and then. In other words, if the goal is to, let's say, go every other day and you miss one, well, just write it off to, for whatever reason, that particular day you couldn't go, but then your next scheduled day, make sure you get back there. Not set yourself up with some unrealistic goal that I'm never going to miss. This isn't something I'm ever going to let down on, simply because unforeseeable circumstances occur and we just can't do it.
Yeah, you're not just going to make mistakes and mess up in the first 66 days, but following down the road you are too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something that the people tend to struggle with, that fear of, developing some fear of failure, that I'm not going to be able to do this. And the first time that there's something that doesn't go the way you want to, your fear is justified. You say, I knew I couldn't do this, and then give up, rather than simply allowing yourself to make that error, have that slip, and then get back at it. The other thing that figures into that is simply changing patterns. Dieting, going to a gym requires a change in behavior, something that just something I'm not used to doing. I'm used to living my life in a particular way, and most people simply want to maintain the status quo. So getting back to what I used to do is very powerful. making a change in it can be difficult, and there will be slip-ups.
And that's what they say about the 66 days. That in order for you to make this new part of your life, part of your life, the change a part of your life, a habit into your lifestyle, it takes that 66-day grace period, of the pitfalls that you make the few mistakes. But after about 66 days, now going to that gym or picking up that instrument or writing that book or whatever your goal or change in your life is, it makes it a lot easier because now it's part of your lifestyle. It's a habit that now it's, okay, I know when I'm coming home at 5:30, I'm picking up the guitar and going into the room and practicing.
That's right.
So you've got to give that 66 days, right?
Yes. You need the time to establish a new pattern and make adjustments in the old one, whatever that happens to be. And 66 days, then can turn into 6 months. But it's giving yourself time to change the pattern and allow for some slippage.
Right, and attaining that goal. So you're saying that one of the most important things is really to sit down prior to it and make a good plan for yourself. Maybe write a mission statement if you would, and make that plan, and then try to adhere to it as much as you possibly can.
Right, and simply not get down on yourself when you do have those slip-ups and errors. Just allow for them.
Yeah, don't be so tough on yourself. At least you're making that attempt to go out and make this change. It's not easy for people to change. Is there a psychological barrier, just as we are humans, that we don't like it, we fear it for some reason?
Oh, absolutely. We get a lot of security, comfort, and safety in consistency, maintaining things as they are. Even if they're destructive, unhealthy, and hurtful, there's something comforting in the stability of that. We don't want to change it. We don't want to step out and take the risk of making some modification. So the anxiety and fear that gets aroused at that point can be very powerful. See this with a variety of things, circumstances in which people experience violence and neglect. Don't want to change difficult patterns because, well, we're set, we're used to them.
How much of going off with changing part of your life, whether it's a personality trait or it's an addiction or just a matter of going to the gym, where somebody should seek maybe the help of a therapist?
Sure, I think at that point, anything that is particularly complex, addictions for example, seeking some professional counsel and guidance would be critical. To identify what the component parts of it are and what changes are going to be necessary for a particular individual. Someone who's attempted a significant change and has 2 or 3 aborted attempts, seeking some guidance to find out what the barriers are, what the impediments are, so they can do something about them. And frequently, one of the primary ones is simply fear and anxiety. That if I change, it's going to be an incredible risk, and I'm just not sure I want to do that.
How much of that is fear of failure?
Oh, a good deal of it is fear of failure. Fear of rejection, what are people going to think of me? Some people have an underlying fear that somehow, as human beings, are just not good enough, and they see failure as inevitable. I'm not good enough as a human being, so whatever it is I attempt to do, well, if I don't fail, I'm at least not going to do it as well as I should or as well as other people expect. You take those 3 fears, the fear of rejection, the fear of inadequacy, and the fear of simply not being good enough, you put them together and it's an excellent recipe for blocking any sort of healthy change.
So possibly talking to a therapist or a counselor is a good thing on their way, especially the more severe the change, when you're talking about an addiction of some sort.
Sure.
I mean, even if it's smoking, which is incredibly addictable, and to try to do that is a tough thing to do on your own, especially when you just go at it and say, January 1st is here,
just gonna stop.
I'm going to do it. And chances are, most likely, it's not going to work unless you have that plan. Go after it and try to work it. Get over the pitfalls. If you have a couple failures along the way, that's okay. Just pick yourself back up, move along, and possibly even get the help of a professional.
Absolutely. That's the way to do that. The more complex, the deeper, the more likely you're going to need some assistance.
All righty. So, see, making a change in your life is very easy, right?
That's right.
It is. And it's really all up to you. If you would really like to make the change in your life, sure, think about it for a little bit, but then take the next step. Get out that pad and pencil and write down a plan, and then come up with a starting date for that plan. And then, Brad, I'm sure it's just get started and do it.
Get started, take the risk and do it.
Yeah, I'm sure if you do that, it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world for you to do, but if you've started and are trying to accomplish it, you're on your way to accomplishing it then. Because nobody could stop yourself except yourself. So Brad, I'd like to thank you for coming in here today and helping us out. And hopefully, if they wanted to get in touch with you, Brad, how could they do that?
Sure. I'm at the Copley Counseling Center out in Poland Township. Number's 330-726-2965. We're in the book, and we're just off Western Reserve Road.
So if you'd like to make that change, or you're going to set a goal for yourself, and you think you might need to have the help of a therapist, a good therapist, you could give Brad a call and get started, but let's get the plan going. Let's go. I know you can make that change. I know you can stick with it. We're going to come back with another great interview with Master Sam Naples in a few minutes. So Brad, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get started. We're going to make these changes, right? We'll be right back. Wow, that's exactly what we needed to hear. Brad Price, now he's a therapist. He knows what he's talking about. He deals with this on a daily basis with people coming in from addictions or just people wanting to make changes in their lives. So, and it's not a problem too, that if you wanted to make that change or you wanted to accomplish that goal and you needed a little bit of help, somebody like Brad is the kind of guy that you would call a therapist, a counselor, to give you that little bit of edge. Might not be your best friend. That's not going to really cut it. It might not be somebody in your family. Maybe it needs to be somebody from the outside and somebody who's knowledgeable and has dealt with this many, many times. Whether you're trying to recover or get over or get through an addiction, or you're just trying to make that change in your life or attempt to accomplish that goal, whatever it is, maybe somebody like Brad could help you. But that was a great interview, and I hope you got something for that. Now we're going to go to Master Sam Naples. Get ready, because Sam's going to motivate you. This guy, he's a black belt in karate. He's been known all over the world. He's a well-accomplished guy, and he's right here in Canfield, Ohio, with his place that you could go to, actually, if you wanted to attain a black belt, if that's what you want to do. Not me. I'm done with that. But Sam's going to help you out, and we're going to do it right now. Hi, and we're back here on 66 Days to Success, and I am with Grandmaster Sam Naples. He is one of the foremost karate experts in America. He's earned numerous black belts. I think he's at 8th degree now. Sam is you're in a Hall of Fame. You've done everything you could possibly imagine, plus all the school that you've taught, and now you're back at it again. You've come through some adversity. We're going to talk about that. But first of all, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having us here, I should say. We came to you.
Always a pleasure.
Yes. Sam, we're talking about goals. We're talking about a person wants to make a change in their life. If not a goal, they'll just a personality change or something in their persona, something about themselves. So changes and goals are what we're all about, and helping people to get there, at least to get started, is the most important thing. So why don't you give us a little bit of background about what you know from the karate aspect of setting goals?
We developed something called the Black Belt Success System. And the martial arts industry is really part of the personal development industry. And, people came to the martial arts to change their life. I did. I don't know why I knew it, but actually almost 50 years ago. I said 30. Wow. It's 50 years ago in another couple of years. I didn't like myself. I was 12 years old, and I had no confidence, and I was, I just wanted to change. And I knew somehow that martial arts was the way to do that, and I started when I was 12, and at about 14 or 15, I realized that I was starting to become good at it and never turned back.
You've had some serious accomplishments in the industry. You've really attained just about every plateau that you've got to, and then you got to a point where actually you had a setback. Right. And that's in the 66 days part of our name of our show. It's the talking about how that you are to, get over the little setbacks along the way, because it takes 66 days to break into a new habit for yourself, to make your lifestyle different, so that now attaining your goal is so much easier. When that thing that you want to accomplish is part of your lifestyle, it makes it so much easier. Right. So you have gone through all of that. You've gone through the setting your goal, and tell us how you went about setting a goal.
First of all, I think the key to effective goal setting is passion. I mean, you've got to find a goal that makes your heart flutter. And, to just say, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in shape, or whatever, if it's not something you're passionate about, you're not going to do it. Because no matter, what goal you set, there's going to be obstacles and there's going to be setbacks. You say, I'm going to, take karate lessons, and then, my wife wants to go do this, or the kids want to do that, and there's always going to be a reason not to do it. I mean, that's what we find in life, is there's always real legitimate reasons not to do it. And so if it's not a goal that you're passionate about, that allows you to push through and get it done one way or the other, your goal's going to fail. And then the second thing, after you've set a goal that you're passionate about, is you got to come up with a plan. How do I get there? And like in the martial arts, we say, okay, you come in and you say your goal is to be a black belt. Takes about 4 years to be a black belt. So then in any goal setting, you plan backwards. So if my goal is to learn how to fly airplanes, well, how long does it take? And then you work backwards to, I don't know anything about airplanes, to how do I get to be a pilot? So if your goal is to be a black belt, you say, well, that means that I should be a green belt in 2 years if I'm going to be a black belt in 4 years. And that means I should be a blue belt in a year. It means I should be a yellow belt in 3 months. And it means that in 1 month I should know so much. And it means, what do I need to do this week? And then after you've set your goal and you start to make plans, you might find out that you don't have all the information you need. Are there classes you need to take? Is there expert advice you need to get? If your goal is to start a business, you need to get an accountant and an attorney. I mean, there's all of those kind of things that you need to think about when setting your goals. Another thing that was really, I found that I thought was profound about goal setting is that if somebody says, I want to put a fitness program into my life, what are you going to eliminate to come up with those 5 or 6 hours a week?
Well, right. If you already have a full schedule, something's got to go in order for you to change in a different direction.
Right. Or if you want to become a vegetarian or become paleo, it's like, well, what about the other people in my house? So if I start making vegetarian or vegan food, and everybody else, you kind of cursed everybody else in your family to have to eat all the stuff that you eat. I'm a vegetarian, but to have to eat all that stuff. So how do you find congruency so that you can follow your goal and still keep the rest of your family, happy? So congruency is important, that it fits in with your life. And so then, the next part is taking massive action. And so many people that fail, right? I can tell you how to be a failure. Come up with one idea, try it, and if it doesn't work, quit. Right? People that are successful keep trying different things. Like,
not so much different things, but different ways
different
on
approaches.
The same thing.
Right. Like, I don't know if people know the story of Colonel Sanders, but Colonel Sanders retired and got his first Social Security check, and it was like $70. And he said, darn, I'm not going to live on that. And so he said, what do I have that I can make some money on? The only thing he had was a chicken recipe. And so I might have the numbers wrong, but it's pretty close anyway. He went to like 1,000 restaurants. I think it was 1,004. And he would go in and say, listen, I got this really great chicken recipe, and I'll give it to you for free. And all you need to do is give me half the profits that you make off the chicken, right? Not off of your whole restaurant, just half the profits that you're going to make selling all this chicken. And 1,003 people told him no, until he found that 1,004th person that said, I'll give it a try. And now there's KFCs all over the world. And so that persistence, that tenacity how many people would get turned down more than 3 or 4 times and quit?
No.
And that's what you need to do to be successful, to keep trying and keep changing your approach and trying and changing your approach. And that's the fourth part of the system, is review and renew. Try something. Did it work? Didn't it work? If it worked, how can I maybe do it more efficiently, do it quicker? If it didn't work, what part of it didn't work? Can I tweak that? And what do I try again next time? And this is also in the fourth part where we say try to find a mentor, right? If you can find somebody that's already done what you're trying to do, they can help you eliminate a lot of the mistakes. And
that's the basic foundation of Alcoholics Anonymous, basically.
Right, I never thought of that, but yeah. And the thing is too, if you're looking for a mentor, there are three kinds of mentors. The first kind is somebody that's good, and good doesn't get you any place. The next kind of mentor is somebody that's excellent. And when somebody's excellent, you do better than average, but then there's a level above excellence, which is called outstanding. And outstanding are people that are the leaders in their field, and quite often, outstanding people have just found one little distinction that makes what they do more successful. I mean, think about like the Olympics, right? In the Olympics, every one of those athletes is world class. And for the person to win in swimming or running, they're just doing one little thing different than everybody else that allows them to, come in first. That's the person you have to find as a mentor. The person that's done it better than anybody else.
So passion, plan. Number 3?
Massive action.
Massive action.
And the fourth one is review, renew, and recommit yourself, right?
Those are some very, very good things. Now, I want to go into a little bit of different direction here because karate is a lot like some of the other sports like boxing and everything where you have to have a very, very strong discipline about yourself.
Right.
And really, if you're going to make a change in yourself and you're going to, or you're going to want to set a goal and try to achieve it, discipline is so, so strong. And especially in that first 66 days we keep talking about where you're going to have the setbacks and you're going to fail and have the little speed bumps. So discipline, especially in karate, and as well as setting goals and making a difference in your life, a change in your life, discipline is so important.
Right. And, that's where passion comes in, because if it's something you're passionate about, that's going to get you through the speed bumps and the disappointment. And discipline, in anything, you think about successful singers or athletes or whatever, and it's everybody thinks about the glory, and they don't think about the mundane, boring, getting up, making the same smoothie every day and going at 4 o'clock in the morning when it's dark out and running your 5 miles or whatever it is. Success means doing the same thing over and over, especially when you don't want to.
Right, especially. And again, in that first 66 days, it's so important. Then it becomes a habit, which becomes part of your lifestyle, which makes everything so much easier. So discipline it's so, so important.
Right.
Because that discipline is the difference between you succeeding and failing. It's the difference between going on and quitting.
Right.
So if you've got that discipline, especially like somebody like him who's now a Grandmaster, 8th level.
Right.
It's amazing what you've accomplished in your career, especially, and I want to tell you something a little bit about Sam. Sam has had both hips replaced. I went to lunch with Sam a couple years ago where you could barely even walk. And it was through all the years of the karate that he had gone through, all the schools and everything else. This man had that setback there. He could have chalked it up and not did anything and just let it go. But you didn't. You had the passion. You set out a plan that after your hip surgeries were there,
right,
you were going to go after and do this. One of the things about discipline is, like your school, you teach Taekwondo here. And this is something that could help a person into any discipline or change or goal that they're going to set, because Taekwondo is a very, very strong thing that you're going to do in terms of discipline and intestinal fortitude here.
Right, and that's, I think, one of the key benefits to martial arts training is that challenging yourself becomes a lifestyle. I mean, most people look for things that they can do and they try something, and if they do it a little bit well, then they continue with it, and if they don't do it easily, they drop it. And especially, I've noticed people that are natural athletes that tend to do that. If they're like really good at something, then they excel at it, and if they're not good at it, then they just move on to something else. I was the most uncoordinated kid that you'd ever seen. And so nothing came easy to me. So when I started doing the martial arts, I knew this was a way to change. And but I didn't give up, and I went to class. Actually, when I was 12 years old, I went to 532 classes in 1 year, like 3 and 4 a day.
Wow.
And just obsessed with it. And and that's the key is that you just don't give up and you keep doing it. And
to challenge yourself.
Right.
That's so important too.
Right. And then you start looking for challenges. Like it's almost like, what can what's something that I could possibly fail at? I want to try that because it's, yeah.
So you have Strike Fit here, and you help teach people Taekwondo,
Right.
On more of a personal level, not a big class, but on a not a one-on-one, but like a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 4-on-1.
It's like I say, we say our tagline is Strike Fit Self-Defense, where personal training meets real self-defense. Martial arts became all about the sport, right? And it's in the Olympics. Taekwondo's in the Olympics. Karate's going to be in the Olympics in the next Olympics. And it's all about competition, but I think that the industry has lost sight of what was really important, which was how to protect yourself. And I mean, there's amazing athletes. I could do some, pretty fancy things 30 years ago, and these, young kids are way better than I ever was. But it's about, helping some 60-year-old woman learn to protect herself, helping some, young man defeat a bully. Now, I don't teach children here. That's one of the unique things with this school is, like, my youngest student is 30 and my oldest student is 74. And I believe that there's a generation of people that are, you're much younger than me, but people that are my age that are interested in learning to defend themselves. And you don't have to be able to kick high. Most of our kicking is from the waist down. But it's learning to defend yourself and getting in good shape and having a good time doing it. So,
alrighty, and we'll put the information on here, Sam. If they wanted to call you, what's the phone number they could?
My number's 330-501-8599, and the email is mastersamnaples@yahoo. So pretty simple.
All right, so we learned passion, plan,
massive action, review, renew, and recommit.
And take in fact too that you want to be very disciplined when you're going to go after attempting whatever you want to attempt. You can call Sam for some tutoring. You can come here and have a great time and learn some self-defense. And that's going to do it for this segment. So Sam,
thank you,
Grandmaster
Jeff.
Sam. Thank you very much. And that's going to do it. We're going to be right back after this short break, and we're going to take the show away. See you in a bit. Well, we've heard from a great therapist. We've heard from a black belt master, Sam Naples, that helped you get a little bit motivated to get up and accomplish what you want to do. So now all you got to do is sit down, grab that pad, and get started planning. If you want to get in touch with me, all you got to do is go to or send me an email at jeffondash@aol.com. I'd love to hear from you and what you're trying to accomplish, and maybe we'll even read your email right here on the show next month. But it's New Year's, it's coming up, and we hope that you're going to be prepared when New Year's Day comes along for your New Year's resolution. So thank you for watching 66 Days to Success this month. That's not easy to say, actually, but thank you for watching, and we're going to see you next month with another great show to give you a little bit of help in January to accomplish your goals. So happy holidays, happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.